Hi everyone, Morgie Roy here today, and we are going to be continuing the Winter Tower. I got, not that I have any of these videos monetized, but I guess the music got copyright struck, or not struck, but I got a copyright warning about the music in this game. I think it was the music anyway. So I've got some just background music playing while we play, and then just kept the voices and stuff on, but I muted the music in the game because I don't, I don't have monetization now, but I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube and have my videos taken down. So we are just going to, oh, hello, Salt Merchant. We are just going to have some random background music that's kind of scene appropriate because I don't want to get YouTube mad at me for the music in this game. So they must have used copyright music in this game when they made it, or they copyrighted the music. I'm not sure, but I don't want to get in trouble. So we're just going to have my own music in the background. So we'll switch over to this. So as you can see, I have muted the game music for the sake of safety. And we will continue this kind of strange game, a slightly strange game, but I have been enjoying it. It's just a little bit of an odd one, but it's creatively odd. So let me know if you guys can hear the music, if it's too quiet. I can crank it up a little bit. And then we've got the game capture music, which should just be capturing their voices. In theory. I say, knowing very little about technology. Okay. So maybe I'll turn the music up a bit more. There we go. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Thank you, Salt Merchant, for joining. We'll continue this visual novel, and then maybe we'll get back to Fields of Mystery next week. What's next week? Actually, my parents might be visiting next week. So maybe not next week, but I'll have to see. If I have to cancel next week, I will make a post. So, load game. Oh yeah, I forgot. She had people coming after her. Okay, bang, 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 bang. Bang, 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 bang. Bang! You shot me down. I rushed to the window. Under the dark sky stood Igor. Ivanova? She's Ivanova, so let's go with Igor. Under the dark sky stood Igor, surrounded by a squadron of knights. I see. The thief incident must have been intended as a distraction for Romanov. But how? Those knights swore their loyalty to my father. They would never betray him just because he was bedridden. He could certainly bribe a couple of soldiers into obeying his orders. However, 2 months would definitely not be enough to persuade them all. I should find out what happened once I get back to the castle. For now, I can only hypothesize. Alexis stopped by my side. I have a question, Alexis.
What is it?
Oh, he's so loud. Oh boy, he is so loud. Let's turn my own volume down. We'll keep his voice loud enough for you guys, but he blew my ears out with that. Do you know self-defense? That wasn't what I meant to ask. I figured Igor would bring a few soldiers with him, but the situation could become dire if any of them are experienced. I might not be able to protect both you and myself. As Alexis began to open his mouth, Igor shouted, Ekaterina Ivanova, you criminal! Open this gate immediately. Hi, Cranberry! What is he talking about? I'm no criminal. No good could come from welcoming the entourage with an open gate, so I peeped out the window and shouted back. How dare you call me a criminal? Long time no see, Katie. He's become even more disgusting over the last 2 months. He's not disgusting, he's just a weirdo. Igor smirked lecherously. Well done on securing the locks. What a wonderful bride to be. My compliments. Keep them to yourself. You'd better obey my orders and open the gate this time. Igor snapped his fingers. Romanov was dragged among the soldiers, bound in ropes. He looked disheveled and tired. His usual tidiness was gone. You crafty bastard. Getting his throat slit as a reward for 30 years of devotion to Ivanov would certainly be a wretched end, don't you think? Aw, thank you. Thank you, Cranberry. It's always nice to hear. The knights held Romanov by his head and placed a sword against his neck. Allow me to correct you, Igor. If you lay a finger on Romanov, you'll never step 1 foot on these grounds. You have it all wrong. The life of your dear old Chamberlain is in my hands. If you don't open this gate straight away and drop into your knees, don't kid yourself. How long do you think you'll last out here if I don't let you in? It appears that you've marched all this way without stopping to sleep. Aren't you and your men at your limit? Katie, there is no limit to how much rudeness I will tolerate. Do not irritate me any further. I demand that you come out this instant. Get down here. Igor screamed his head off, but he was in no rush to kill Romanov. I closed the window and whispered to Alexis. I'm their target, Alexis. If you hide in the basement, they won't bother to search for you.
Do you plan to fight them all by yourself?
Once they have a hostage, I can't simply sit back and ignore them. Plus, running and hiding isn't my style. It's all right. Don't worry about me. Those knights are loyal to my father, so they won't harm me. When Alexis saw my determination, he responded.
I trust you. Come back unharmed.
Damn it! What's taking her so long? Break down the gate. Do it now. Young Master Igor, Give it up, you imbecile. The knights aren't there to listen to your incessant whining. The knights showed courtesy but remained on their horses. I see your mouth has become filthier since leaving the castle. From the very beginning, I never wished to speak to you. Every word you speak kills one of my brain cells. Igor fumed for a while, then smiled in triumph as he came to a sudden realization. Now I understand why you're so full of yourself. You don't understand what kind of situation you're in, do you? Igor tugged on the rope that bound Romanov. Why don't you try suggesting why your Chamberlain, who devoted 30 years of his life to an Ivanov family, is all tied up? I have no excuse. Romanov's head drooped. Guess what? That you're levying accusations against me and tortured Romanov into giving confession as my accomplice. Igor gritted his teeth and hit the nail on the head. The torture was merely a needs to find the truth. You know what you've done. Let's keep this short. I don't want this conversation to drag on either, so let's get to the point. I shall let your rudeness go, since we will soon have plenty of time to talk. Your coming-of-age ceremony has been cancelled. And, Ekaterina Ivanova, you shall return to the castle, not as Ivanov's heir, but as a criminal. What exactly are you accusing me of? You fled after making an attempt on the reigning Lord Ivanov's life, disguised the attack as a horse-riding accident, and then stole the Ivanov family's signet ring. Don't make me laugh. Are you trying to say that I attempted to murder my own father? Do you even know? Everything has been personally testified by our father, the present lord himself. What? When Igor uttered something shocking, I felt dizzy as if I'd been punched in the head. That's impossible. Mother anticipated that answer from you. Someone deliver this to Katie. Igor snapped his fingers and one of the knights got off his horse to deliver a letter from Igor. It doesn't bear the family signature, but this is certainly father's handwriting. Dear Ive, I discovered the truth of the incident recently. On God's name, I never expected my title to turn a person into a green-eyed monster. Now the truth has been revealed, you need not complete your coming-of-age ceremony to become the heir. I have given my orders to the knight. I would appreciate if you return to the castle without any resistance. Your right to succession will be removed, should you refuse to return within 1 week of receiving this letter. The drops of ink smeared across the page proved father had struggled to finish writing this. I gently folded the letter and put it in my pocket. When did father awaken? Around 2 weeks ago. Lord Ivanov said he pretended to be unconscious in order to trick Romanov into believing he was still powerless. I don't think he's making this up. Now, do you realize what kind of trouble you're in? I silently drew my rapier. I've always wished for the opportunity to stitch your mouth closed. I suppose the time has finally come. Are you going to fight all these knights by yourself? Don't waste your energy trying to do the impossible. Igor arrogantly gestured towards his entourage. Perhaps if I tame you now, you'll quiet down and learn how to be a proper housewife. The kings marched forward, grasping the hilts of their swords. However, they were reluctant to draw their weapons because of all of them taking on one swordswoman alone went against chivalry. I won't hold it against you. I know you're only following my father's orders. You over there, draw your sword. The knight I pointed at dismounted his horse and drew his weapon. Please, allow us to escort you back to the castle peacefully. Oh? You think you can best me? This will be different from our usual training sessions. The knight sighed and readied his stance. His moment of hesitance passed in a blink of an eye. His sword turned into an aggressive fang. Here he comes. The way he speaks to me tells me that he's... Father's knight? Unquestionably my father's knight. I should incapacitate him. Though it was better in terms of technique, the knight had the overwhelming physical advantage because he was taller and had longer arms. However, he wasn't told to bring me back dead. This gave him an extra challenge. He aimed for my wrist. It was an attempt to disarm me by forcing me to drop my weapon. But I'm not so foolish as to let that happen. I dodged the first attack and briskly struck my rapier at his oblique. When my opponent avoided the attack, he created an opening to tenaciously retaliate with his sword. He has good concentration, meaning he's weak to surprises. Time to play a trick on him. I purposely let go of my rapier, spun a half turn, then kicked my rapier towards the sky. What in the... The sword flew aimlessly through the air. Only took a few seconds for my opponent to react. But it was more than enough to decide the match. I thought as my rapier stopped in front of his neck. How naive of you. As you said, this was no training session. I surrender. The knight put his sword into his sheath and quietly stepped back. Another knight stepped forward. This won't last long. Surrender while we're still feeling generous. Try me. Where are your manners? The knight adjusted his grip on his sword while clicking his tongue. Here he comes. Judging from the way he spoke, this knight must be an assassin. If I were Melissa, I would have hidden an assassin among the knights. Judging from his rude attitude, it must be him. As anticipated, the assassin attacked me with moves that couldn't be taught in knight training. I quickly ducked to avoid his blow and went straight for his leg. Arg! The wounded assassin regained his composure. With a menacing expression, he drew a dagger that had been hidden below his wrist armor. I can't let that dagger nick me. A strike to his dagger forced him to drop the weapon. I immediately subdued him and pulled his helmet off. The knights around me gasped. You don't know him, do you? Neither do I. Father wouldn't have ordered you to kill me, am I wrong? I shoved a piece of cloth in the assassin's mouth to stop him from attempting to end his own life. This is strange. The knights finally realized that somebody had hidden an assassin among them. They turned away from me and pointed their swords at Igor. I don't know. Let Romanov go while I still have the patience. Cacography. I sound like I'm doing one of those pronunciation videos, but I'm not getting the pronunciation probably wrong. Igor, feeling cornered, pulled his long sword out of his sheath and pressed the blade against Romanov's neck. Damn you! Don't come any closer. You must have guts if you haven't surrendered yet. I'll give you that. My rapier pierced through Igor's sword. I pulled Romanov closer to me and cut the ropes that bound him, ignoring Igor's screams. Blah, blah, blah. Romanov accepted a dagger from me and used it to threaten Igor to be quiet. Wait here while I prepare for our journey. I walked into the tower with Romanov, and Igor trailed along as well. When I met with Alexis inside the tower, he immediately examined my body for wounds.
Are you hurt?
Not a single scratch, quite literally. Igor forgot about the situation he was in and flipped out the moment he noticed Alexis standing beside me. Who is this scoundrel? Were you with another man without telling? Romanov? On it, my lady. Oof, 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 oof. Romanov skillfully muffled Igor's mouth. I beg your pardon, sir. How shall I address you?
I'm Alexis Yevgenyk Strelnikov.
What an impressive name. Please, call me Romanov.
Pleased to meet you, Romanov.
I ordered Romanov to throw Igor into the shed while I waited in the living room with Alexis. Romanov returned shortly after. Alexis has been living in the tower since before I arrived. He probably didn't know it even had an owner, as the place was deserted for quite a long time. I would believe it. I had but all forgotten this property, as well as you mentioned the coming-of-age ceremony, my lady. Romanov, how did my father look when you last saw him? As young Master Igor said, the Lord was, in fact, unconscious the last time I saw him. Could it be possible that he only wakes up when that woman is around? I doubt it. Since I attended him during the daytime, he must have woken up during the nighttime. However, the Lord would have had no reason to tell me if he were, in fact, conscious. I took the letter out of my pocket. Since Romanov is with me, let's double-check the letter. Something is off about this. Well, you have the wax seal. The fact the envelope is missing a wax seal bothers me. Romanov nodded in agreement. I concur. The envelope may be lacking a seal since you have possession of the signet ring. Nonetheless, Lord Ivanov would have sent a letter that did not bear his signature. Indeed, there is a risk the letter might have been altered otherwise. The Lord handles every matter with the utmost caution. The chance that he forgot to write his own signature would be very low. I haven't found a proper piece of evidence yet. I must think harder. What's odd about this letter? Okay. Dear Ive? I pointed out the line that seemed strange. Romanoff examined it carefully, then replied, This is certainly strange. Lord Ivanov would never have used a nickname in writing unless it were a personal letter. That's correct. He once explained to me that it was to prevent any confusion between those who might use the same nickname, and also to remain formal in the presence of others. Though the letter was written in my father's handwriting, the missing seal and the use of my nickname tells me that this is fake. Romanoff agreed with my conclusion. The problem is the handwriting. How can my father write if he's unconscious? There is a theory that comes to my mind. Are you well aware I've been serving the people of the castle before you were born, my lady? Both the present lord held this title, he had illegible handwriting. Before the present lord held this title, he had illegible handwriting. He did? Romanoff gently laughed, reminiscing about the past. You wouldn't believe it nowadays. His handwriting was so bad that at one point his love letter was sent to the wrong person. Rumor has it that many young ladies sat together that day in order to decrypt the letter that the lord had sent out. I never heard of such an incident. Due to his poor handwriting, Lord Ivanov ran into many issues, some small, some large. In the end, the previous lord became frustrated and sent the present Lord Ivanov to the Winter Tower. I see. So that's why he always emphasized the importance of having good manners and neat handwriting. Yes. Back then, the lord was in love with a certain young lady. He told me he felt like dying when they were separated. What happened to them?
Before you spill the jelly beans, would you like a cup of tea?
Okay. I didn't know when he got here, but Alexis appeared with hot tea and meringue cookies. Alexis baked these cookies himself. Give them a try. Romanoff accepted my offer and naively grabbed a meringue cookie. A few seconds later, he coughed vigorously. This has a very unique flavor. So this is how you feel. I wanted to laugh out loud, but I kept it in order to preserve Romanoff's dignity. Alexis didn't anything, but I could tell he was laughing on the inside. Romanoff continued speaking after subtly pushing the tray back towards Alexis. When people are separated, their hearts follow as well. Moreover, his poor handwriting never quite delivered his message accurately. When it became impossible for him to meet with his lover, the fire in his heart gradually died out. He soon became tired of practicing his handwriting. He was frustrated when he realized there was no improvement. Instead, he opted to spend more time in the woods, trotting around with his horse. Then one day, Lord Ivanov found a woman lost in the woods. Was it Melissa? Was it Melissa? No, that's not Melissa. Why does your dad look like your Alexis? Why does your dad look like Alexis? Okay. I have questions. Amongst the white birch trees, her raven hair made her look like a fairy straight out of a storybook. Wait, was she? Yes. This is where the Lord met Madame Ivanova, whereafter she would eventually pass away while giving birth to you. I understand that you didn't know the entire story. The Lord has always been reluctant to share stories about her with you. He simply told me that they met by chance while my father was out for a walk. Oh, sorry. I had no idea they met there. I'm doing bad on the voices. He quickly fell in love with the fair lady who looked mysterious enough to be a fairy. He told me that if his first love was a campfire, this one was a fierce blaze, strong enough to raise a field. Alexis listened attentively, nodding at Romanoff. It was Madame Ivanova who helped the lord improve his poor handwriting. She advised him not to change his handwriting itself, but to draw the letters. Did that solve his problems? Surprisingly, it did. That new point of view made his handwriting, which resembled chicken scratch, much more organized. That means that my father hasn't been writing, but drawing. A perfect copy of the alphabet, that is. Romanoff sipped his tea to moisten his throat. I became the chamberlain 10 years later, so I could not compare the handwriting of the present lord to the previous lord. At first, I assumed he was copying the letters from books. Reading this letter has made me suspect otherwise, however. What if Lord Ivanov perfectly replicated the handwriting of his father? Oh, I see where this is going. Yes, I believe this letter may have been written from the former lord. Every heir of the Ivanov family is granted the nickname Ive, which is shortened to a form of Ivanov regardless of their gender. My father calls me both Kate and Ive. He surely inherited the habit from his father. I read the letter once again. What was the incident mentioned in the letter then? It was nothing unusual. You are aware that the present lord has a second-born son, correct? Yes. The third son always envied his eldest brother. He thought himself qualified to become the heir. Thus, he refused to accept that he wasn't considered for the title, despite he was born after his elder brother. The third son despised the situation he was in and framed Lord Ivanov for poisoning him. He put forth your father's personal letters as evidence, and his illegible handwriting made him a suspect. They arranged previous lords sent the present lord away to the Winter Tower. With less competition, the third son began to try and press the previous lord. However, their father was disinterested in allowing the third son to compete for the position of heir. Having felt intimidated, the third young master killed his elder brother, disguised it as an accident, and framed up his youngest sister for the crime. That was the wrong decision to make, because the previous lord favored his first son. Your father was only faced with banishment. His younger brother, on the other hand, was executed in the same way he had killed their elder brother. The youngest sister went into shock due to this and hurriedly left the castle after getting married. What a tragedy. I figured the family history couldn't be as perfect as it seemed. I can understand why my father was reluctant to talk about his youth. This is also the reason the Lord hasn't announced his final decision on the next heir. Because he's worried that Igor and I will end up like his siblings did? As you say. He witnessed firsthand that a person is capable in the name of greed. I simply thought he was trying to respect my independence. That might have been partly the reason, too. At the end of the day, you are left with more choices because young Master Igor is here. I put the letter back into my pocket. My job here is done. I shall return to the castle. Siren might hold my father hostage, should I make use of Igor to the best of my advantage. Romanov will arrive at the castle in no longer than 5 days. We won't be taking any breaks, so provide the knights with as many supplies from the basement as needed. Yes, my lady. It's time to decide. Though our time together was short, I could say it was, without a doubt, fun. But I'm destined to become Lord Ivanova. Allowing personal feelings to affect my decisions wouldn't be right. It was a pleasure to meet you. Although it's sooner than expected, I must return to the castle. You're free to visit whenever you like. You'll be welcomed as my guest. Alexis looked confused.
Let us say goodbye here, then. Farewell, Ekaterina Ivanova.
Would I be mistaken if Sid looked like a abandoned puppy right now? Promise. Yeah. Yep. It's no misers, no makeover. The story's been a lot less sideways in this one so far. With Igor under my control, I reached the castle after 5 sleepless nights. Though I was away for barely 3 months, it felt like it had been an entire year. Open the gates. I boldly marched to the main gates and adjusted my attire. Sneaking in through the back door was for criminals. Criminals like Siren, who eagerly awaited her son's return. She was dressed to the nines to greet her son, but when she saw me leading the knights instead, she visibly flinched. I'm relieved she didn't hold father hostage. I won't allow you to escape. I ordered the knights to catch her. Ekaterina, how dare you walk in through the... What's there for me to fear? This is my home. The knights tossed the still-bound assassin before her eyes. Melissa became pale when she recognized his face. Your son has confessed to his crimes already. I suggest you do the same. This is all a dirty setup. This was part of your plan from the beginning. You've always envied Igor. You just couldn't accept the fact he would become the rightful heir, could you? It's time you woke up. Igor is not the heir. I am. Like mother, like daughter. Shh. You don't care about the pain you caused to those around you. Now she's just rattling off whatever comes to mind. Melissa questioned me with pale, trembling lips. What did you do to Igor? You didn't kill him, did you? Who knows? The answer to that question depends on your actions. He won't remain in one piece for long if you continue to deny the truth and throw baseless accusations at me. Melissa found herself in a serious dilemma. I admit to everything. It was all my doing. Lock her up in the dungeon. Igor as well. Don't lay a finger on Igor. He doesn't know about any of this. Are you telling me he's innocent? That he only did what you told him to do? Don't make me laugh. Being that ignorant would be a crime on its own. No, you're the criminal. Just wait and see. Igor will punish you thoroughly. Lock them up separately. I will get my revenge. I will make you suffer for all of this. I had no patience to sit and listen to some crazy woman complain. I returned to the castle after locking up the mother and son pair in the dungeon. Melissa's foolish attempt at revenge was poison. I'm speechless. Did she really think I couldn't see through something so obvious? Unless one was not used to these sorts of shady tactics. 1 second, I gotta sneeze. I had abundant experience with poison thanks to all the threats I faced every day. My father regained consciousness after 4 more days. After hearing what had happened over the past couple of months, he granted the 2 people in the dungeon a death sentence. Whoa! Makes sense, but whoa! Melissa claimed her innocence until the very end. I didn't understand why she tested me so much that she wanted me dead. Regardless, I succeeded the lordship after all the problems were resolved. Afterwards, I decided to visit the Winter Tower to check on Alexis. However, the tower was empty when I arrived. He's gone. Though our time together was short, I enjoyed spending time with him. I returned to the castle after swallowing my bittersweet feelings. His reason for staying there, his punishment, and his identity were all unbeknownst to me. I had enough of chasing the past. I became Lord Ivanova and anticipated the bright future ahead of me. Good ending, the Lord. So, I guess I chose the wrong options. Okay. I guess, I chose the Lord options, which, you know, is not terrible. I guess victory, yeah. Why did her dad look like... Why does her dad look like him, though? I guess their hair is a little different. He's got like a swoopy. He's got like a swoopy in her hair. So it might just be the art style. I guess victory. It's a little bit of a downer. I kind of don't want to play through the game again right now, though. So I guess if you want to see the other endings, you can play them on your own. Yeah. I didn't know we were that close to the end. And there's a side story, too. Can we skip? I'm just curious. To the decisions? Let me just see. I'm just gonna see. Skip. Whoa! Okay, so she said yes there was, she got the seal, no there wasn't, it was time to head out. So let's choose this one. Let's just do a skippy. Let's see what happens. So she didn't take the seal this time. I think I tried to search for the... Oh, wait. No, I did that back. I did that wrong. I did it wrong. One second. Skip. Let's try not taking the seal. Skip. Oh, there's sounds in the game. I thought my microphone was making that noise, but it's the horse stepping noise. It was thrown, or galloping noise. I'm like, what is that? What's that noise? Okay, skip. So we want to look for tools. Skip. Help the hamster. Skip. Oh God. That was terrible sound. Take another look around. Skip. We met what's-his-face. Okay, skip. Yep, meeting him. Jack Frost, Snow Miser. I think that was the cat that was chasing the hamster, but the picture of the hamster was over top. Skip. Okay. I'll be honest. I think that makes sense. Why are you here? Skip. You know my stepmother. Skip. No, you don't stand animals. Skip. Rather suspicious. Skip. Never mind. I should accept his... I'll accept his criticism. Arguing seemed like a waste of time, so I accept his criticism. Fine, I lose. You're right. So is there any other way to open those unbreakable doors?
There is.
What is it?
Me.
He assumed I didn't comprehend his reply and had an
I'm
explanation.
the only one who can open them. Because I was the one who sealed them.
Okay, so we're going in a slightly different path now. I nearly snapped the moment he revealed he was behind all of this trouble. However, I pulled myself together. If he told the truth, I would need his help. All this trouble over a few doors. Well then, if you could come help me open those doors.
No. I must touch the doors to open them, but I cannot leave this area.
Why? This is new. What? You said you were the only one who shut them, but you won't go near them. What kind of nonsense is this? On second thought, the man hadn't moved a single step from that one spot. Perhaps he had difficulties moving around due to an injury similar to my father. Recalling how I was about to force a sick person to move around made my heart uneasy. As I searched for my voice, the man shifted to reposition himself on the chair. Well, we tried that. We did that in the other one. You look fine to me. Why do you say you can't leave this place? Oh yeah, saying someone... You don't look like you have a disability. Don't say that to people. What were you sentenced to?
That I cannot tell you.
It isn't a big deal to walk through one little passage, isn't it? Do you wish to watch me freeze to death in the frosty outdoors? Are you positive?
There's a town near the forest. I believe you'd be far more comfortable there. Is there any particular reason for you to stay in this tower?
There is, actually. I must complete my year-long coming-of-age ceremony here. The man remained silent for a while. Finally, he opens his mouth to respond.
Must you open them? No matter what?
Yes. He slowly stood from his chair and walked closer at an even slower pace. I had noticed from a distance, but up close he was pale as a ghost. It was as if he had never seen sunlight his entire life. He spoke softly but clearly, as though reciting a prayer.
If I enter, I won't be able to lift a finger. Despite that, if you truly wish to stay at the Winter Tower, I will help you. In exchange,
He paused before continuing.
will you promise to look after me? And never betray me?
It almost sounded like a wedding vow. I swear it. I don't know what you're so worried about, but I will become Lord Ivanova soon. Taking care of a person would be no problem whatsoever.
Then my name is Alexis Yevgenyk Strelnikov.
Okay, so we're gonna skip a bit. Nah, they're magic doors. You can't break them down. Okay, we're gonna skip again. Yeah, we met the elves. The elves are the weirdest part of this game, for sure, but it might have been a little boring without them. So, nothing for... I said I should apologize and they got mad, so there's nothing for me to be sorry about. I should remain aloof. But to be completely honest with you, I still don't understand why you're so angry at me. Even if you dislike me, you only have to put up with me for 1 year, however. That's how long I must stay here. After that, I promise you will have the tower back. The elf stared at me for a while, then stretched out arms towards me. Is he inviting me for a handshake? As I took his hand, I felt like marble against my palm. The elf whispered quietly, "Please to take good care of Alexis." Huh? See you next time. Yeah, I know. In March, they were named at the Spring Tower. The elf disappeared into the chimney. What he handed me was a candy drop. Okay, so we'll skip. The candy is a prank. I'll teach him how to use a spoon. I did that last time. Okay. If you were ever to celebrate your coming-of-age ceremony at the Winter Tower, you would find yourself welcomed by doors sealed with piles of snow, a horse glued to the fireplace who refuses feed with hostility, and elves that fought you for the jar of sugar cubes. Okay, this part we did. I called Shadow's name out loud, and Shadow did help. Let's try Dad. Father! There was no question that he wasn't in the condition to come help. I am the future Lord Ivanova. I must not look weak. I came back to my sentence and pulled harder. Romanov? Romanov! Sadly, my lady, I'm not at the Winter Tower with you. That's funny. It's like when you try to use a bike in the wrong place in Pokemon. It's not the time to use that. Somehow I could hear Romanov's tired voice echo inside my head. Feeling a little embarrassed, I pulled hard. Okay, so you do have to do the horse. Okay, we'll skip. I did think I did that. Frame. let Alexis take the desserts I think I did last time? I don't know. This is not the time to use that. Okay, skip. Oh, yeah, she didn't get the rings. Yeah. Okay. By the time I realized I'd forgotten to retrieve the signet ring from Romanoff, it was already too late. I hurried back to the castle immediately, but it was too late. Siren and her son already claimed— Oh, I got a bad ending. They took my rapier away and locked me in my room. I could only watch as they sent out correspondence in the name of the Ivanov family. My situation has worsened since the day I departed from the castle. My only choices were to accept an arranged marriage or death. The reality of being unable to fight against Igor's humiliations had me blue in the face. If only I'd remembered to take the rings. So the forgotten ring. Okay, so there's that one. Okay. I guess we'll do the same. We'll skip. Skippy. And I'll remember to take the stuff. Skip. Yes, there was. We'll get the rings. And that's the horse sounds, which I keep thinking is my mic making weird noises. Search for tools. Skip. Save the hamster. Skip. And there's that cat noise again. Take another look around. Skip. Romanoff never told me about this. And then we meet What's-His-Face. Speed read. Oh, do I need to sneeze again? Really? Yep. Skip. I should be honest. Tell his name. Skip. Ask all these.
I'm confined.
Okay, don't ask anything. Okay. Accept his criticism. Skip. Promise. Skip. At least there's choices in this game. A lot of these free ones I play don't have choices, so this isn't too bad. It's a pretty good quality visual novel for free. Or like, it might have been free, it might have been like a couple of dollars, but it wasn't very much. Skip-a-doo. Remain aloof. Skip. Teach him how to use a spoon. Skip. Okay. Come on, game. Shadow. Skip. Frame. Skip. Sure, let's just do this one. Alexis, you shouldn't steal desserts from the elves just because I told you not to steal from Shadow. Alexis didn't bat an eye when I yelled at him.
He shouldn't be eating these.
What nonsense is that? Return those desserts immediately and never do this again, or else I'll take away your crackers. Alexis remained silent for a moment, then posed a question.
Do you really want me to?
Is that even a question? Alexis sighs deeply before returning everything he'd taken from the elf. Okay. Everything seemed perfect on the surface, however the problem eventually reared its head again. Is Alexis stealing the elf's desserts behind my back? I kept an eye out for Alexis, but he seemed to have lost interest in the elf after I scolded him. I assumed he lost interest because the elf had been instructed not to consume snow sugar, but Alexis was the one who began losing weight. Alexis?
Yes?
His voice sounded fragile. Why do you think the elf isn't recovering from the snow sugar disease?
Because no one is keeping an eye on him.
But he's still making himself sweets and pastries. Isn't that the healthy diet you mentioned?
Not all sweets are healthy.
Alexis walked over to the pantry and returned with one jar of honey and one jar of sugar cubes.
What do these look like to you?
Honey and sugar?
Did you know that honey is made from sugar?
Yeah. Honey is made from bees and sugar is processed from sugarcane. Are you implying otherwise?
You can use sugar to create a honey-like substance. Does that make it real honey?
Artificial honey made from sugar. That's a lot how like Igor presents he's the rightful family successor. The answer is no.
Are biscuits made using fake honey real honey biscuits?
Isn't it basically the same thing since they're both just used for sweetness? Alexis smiled bitterly.
You only put it that way because you aren't interested in sweets. If someone created a replica of your ring, would both your ring and the replica be considered real?
Yeah. Would I get a bad ending if I hit Snow Miser with my grappling hook? I don't know if he'd die. He seems like some kind of immortal thing. Of course not. These rings are symbols of my family. They have a vast, rich history.
Honey biscuits also have a vast, rich history.
After finishing his explanation, Alexis put the honey jar and sugar back where they belonged. without taking a handful of sugar cubes.
Elves must eat only sweets that strictly follow recipes developed for them.
Do you mean to say all those sweets the elf ate were bad for him, even though they looked the same?
That is correct.
Why didn't you tell me that before? Alexis stared straight at me.
This question again? You asked me that on the first day we met.
Did you assume I wouldn't believe you again?
You aren't concerned about what the elves eat. You don't even bother to find out what they like or do as long as it doesn't disturb you. As I've already told you clearly, those sweets aren't good for them.
On second thought, Alexis wasn't the kind of person to bully and steal desserts from an elf. I'd misunderstood Alexis, and it was all because I hadn't shown any interest in him or the elves. Never before had I felt too ashamed to apologize, yet for some reason I couldn't open my mouth. It was as if my lips were glued shut. In the end, I didn't give a single word of apology. I decided to focus on helping the elf recover from snow sugar disease instead. I eventually got the hang of distinguishing real desserts from fake ones by continuously reviewing the recipes in the library. Growing up in the castle, I was raised on the finest cuisine. Differentiating between fake honey and real honey, or snow sugar from real sugar, wasn't much of a challenge once I learned the trick. Every dessert the elf baked used snow sugar. He must have done it intentionally. The more my memory jogged, the more furious I became. The elf must not have expected me to react. His expression became blank as I took away his desserts. You must have had so much fun eating those desserts behind my back every day. I loathe people who disobey my orders and try to trick me. Today I'll teach you a lesson you won't soon forget. I gave Shadow and the elf an angry grin. The plan was to use traditional method of encouraging desired behavior. The carrot and stick method. After exactly 10 days of my training program, I was able to get both Shadow and the elf in proper shape. The elf handed me an armful of snacks and desserts, then ran to the fireplace. Alexis.
Kate.
Alexis had become even thinner recently. I had a recipe book I found in the library. Would you like to try to read this book, Alexis? I'll help you with the difficult parts.
Sure.
Okay, so I guess that was the right choice, even though it seemed like the wrong choice. Forbidden trick. Yeah, okay. Here we are with the Armaris bear, which I did look up, and there was a bear that... An ancient bear... I don't know. Okay, skip. I can protect myself, but what about Alexis? He had an unsteady gait and small, soft hands. Small, soft hands. What a soft boy he is. He was a commoner with no formal training. Not even Igor has calluses on his hands. He quit his training midway, calling it too boring. However, comparing Igor's disgusting hands, he looked... Woman. Some people could be disgusting on the inside and look fine on the outside, girl. To Alexis's beautiful ones would have been an insult to the latter. He has such long fingers and round fingernails. Weird thing to notice. Okay. He's more suited to play the piano than hold a sword. Okay, long fingers, yes, that's noticeable. Why are you looking at his fingernails that closely? I don't think I've ever noticed someone else's fingernails unless they've been painted before. Or had, like, acrylic nails or something. This flow of thoughts directed my eyes to my rough hands. Sword fighting was something I required to master in order to become the Lord Ivanova. I need some fresh air. I ate a late breakfast, then headed out with Shadow. Oh goodness, the kitchen was in chaos. Okay, this is the... Try it. So this is the burnt ball that tastes good. They looked so natural together, I might believe her father's son. I assume Alexis was similar in age to me, but his actual age, birthplace, and background were all still a mystery. Does he have a family of his own? Right. He told me he was serving time, all alone in that forgotten crevasse. Who was punishing him? Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, you're right. He is wearing he's wearing gloves. Yeah, she saw right through the gloves. And for what crime?
Kate, would you like to hold him?
Yes, I'll hold the baby. It's gonna prank me with magic.
Here.
That's shining like the sun. Daydreaming about Alexis' hypothetical marriage, even though I barely knew a thing about him, felt like something Igor would do. By the way he acted with that child was so natural, it's hard to assume otherwise. It was as if Alexis already had experience with dealing with kids. Could he have parted with his family because he had to stay on the tower? If so, he said nothing about his wife or kids over the last 2 months. To be fair, he's never asked me any personal questions either. Surely he would have already told me if he had a family. Not that he has a lick of common sense. It was impossible to lack such basic living skills if one had never lived with roommates. Right. There's no possibility he's married. All right. Time to head back. We got enlisted in the woods. The baby elf pranked me. Could the baby elf be because of this? Was he hiding mischief under that genuine-looking smile? Okay, enjoy your work meeting, Cranberry. Thanks for coming in. Alexis occasionally taught me about the true nature of elves. For example, how they love to eat sweets and prank others. The worst pranks they pulled on me were just sharing sweets with strange flavors, or hiding my belongings, though. It was never this extreme. I have no idea. This isn't the time to sit around and theorize about the cause of my condition. Oh, yep, we got the wolves. We're gonna kill 13 wolves. Attack is coming from slash to the left. Since my sentences are reversed, I must slash the left. Fight. I targeted its eyes. Oh, I died. I forgot. Oops. Oh no! I should have saved before I did that. I should have saved before I did that. Let's just keep going. Gosh darn it, that was silly. I thought I had to fight, but I'm supposed to run. Get it. Get the thing. Skip-a-doo. Yep. Skip-a-doo. Search for tools. Skip-a-doo. Skip. Help the hamster. Skip-a-doo. Looking. Keep looking. Skip-a-doo. Skip. He meets the boy, the guy. Skip. I should be honest. Skip. Don't ask anything. Skip. Accept description. Skip. Promise. Skip. Skip-a-doo. Meet the elves. Skip. Remain aloof. Skip. Teach him how to use a spoon. Skip. Come on, game. Skip. Call shadow. Skip. Framer for stealing the snacks. Skip. Because I think this is the better option, because she's learning about the elves, right? Skip. Try the burnt ball. Skip. Yes. It's gonna get me.
Here.
The magic. Baby elf rank me. Skip. I have no idea. Skip. Slash to the left. Skip. Flight. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh yeah, the horse with the beautiful hair. Beautiful hair horse. Skip. Okay, it was a dangerous prank. Getting his hat taken away would be too harsh. Try the brain cookies. Skip. Okay, so now we should be getting into new stuff. Yep, skip. This one. Father's Night. Skip. Assassin. Skip. Skip. Missing wax seal. Dear Ive is the weird part. Roaming off the cookies. Okay. Yep. Scene. Okay. New stuff. Offer. Okay, this is new. Offer to bring Alexis to the castle as well. As you may have already heard, Alexis, I will return to the castle now. What would you like to do? I may not understand your situation, but we have knights to guard us. If anything goes wrong, I will be there to protect you as well. You won't have to fear for your safety.
Will you become Lord Ivanova after all of this is done?
It's a little sooner than expected, but I suppose so. If you don't have any particular reason to stay here, Alexis, would you like to come with me? This particular moment felt more unnerving than the time I had to fight the knights off by myself. Alexis smiled at my offer.
All right, my lady.
Oh, okay. Awesome. He's coming with... Okay. Oh, I didn't see what the title was. Let's save, because I don't want to make a mistake and die. Yes. With Igar under my control, I reached the castle after 5 sleepless nights. Although I was weird for barely 3 months, it felt like it had been an entire year. Okay. Oh, okay, we can skip that. It took less than a half a day for the chaos to settle down. Romanov was with my father, as unconscious man still needed care. After dinner, a maid brought me a tray of various sweets. Had I just imagined it, or were Alexis' sparkling eyes never so bright as when they looked upon those sweets? Help yourself. We've got so many, you'll soon grow sick of them. Alexis took small bites of the soft cakes.
This is delicious.
I'm glad you like it. Though I did not bake them myself. Still, I could argue that I indirectly made this because this castle was mine. I feel a little empty inside now that it's all over.
Is that so? I'm just glad that you weren't hurt.
You were a little delayed on your read there, bud. I thought it was my line. Alexis smiled blissfully. Good for you, bud. I'll stretch it. It lightened up the room. Could this be the feeling my father felt when he met my mother? How I met your mother. Alexis, will you? If you are not waiting for someone else, will you marry me? Wow, girl. Direct. Girl knows what she wants and she's gonna go right in. She's like, we've had a pretty good couple of months. Let's get married. I guess you know what it's like to live together. I couldn't say the words. It would have been too embarrassing to say casually. Oh, okay. I thought she didn't say it out loud. I should probably tell Romanov to set a date for the perfect proposal. It can wait, since time is on my side.
Something's not right.
Oh, no. I thought to myself, well, why should Alexis cut another piece of cake for herself? But then he started to spasm. Alexis! He dropped to the floor like a puppet whose strings... Was it poisoned? Romanov immediately brought a doctor to check on Alexis's condition. I'm afraid he's been poisoned. By who? My lady, there's only one person who would do such a thing. Melissa. Was this what she meant when she said she'd get her revenge? I shouldn't have let my guard down. I won't let her get away with this. Alexis moaned and gasped as if he would breathe his last any moment. We need an antidote now. He won't survive much longer like this. Melissa laughed hysterically the moment she saw me enter the dungeon. Her lunatic cacophony echoed without end. Ah! Ah! Even Igor was shocked speechless by his mother's demeanor. She's gone insane. Making a deal with her will be pointless. I ignored him for a moment, waiting until Melissa stopped laughing. After a moment of hysteria had ended, she panted for breath. What do you want? That face of yours. I want to see that face of yours, oh so dearly. Melissa clasped her hands around the cell bars and whispered, You took what belonged to me. While he was away for that short period of time, those 6 short months, what are you talking about? You became so cocky after teaching him a few letters. I could have done that too, you know. Oh, she's talking about the lady before her. Back then, the Lord was in love with a certain young lady. He told me he felt like dying when they were separated. I read all of it. I saw all of it. I'm the only one who could truly understand his feelings. Ha! This castle, this power, they were supposed to belong to me. Who are you to barge in and steal them from me? Melissa was living in a fantasy world. My father had never met my mother. Was that why you sent me poison? Yes. Since you took what was mine, it's only fair that I take what's yours in exchange. Just as your father brought a woman back when he returned from the tower. You brought a man along. What's the antidote? I neither know nor care. I order the servants to use everything at their disposal. For all I care, they may have mixed poisons. This is the worst case scenario. I got out of the dungeon because I wasn't worth my time to listen any further. It was Melissa's housemaid who had poisoned the food. She had already killed herself, knowing suicide thing. Knowing we would come after her. Though we dug through her belongings and found the poisons that were used, we had yet to uncover its exact composition. I laid Alexis on the bed next to my father's and prayed that he would hold on till the antidote was made. I chuckled at myself. It wasn't so long that I promised I would protect Alexis. Now all I could do was pray. If I had taken the bite of dessert first, I would have realized it. Alexis simply ate whatever I offered him without a hint of caution. How can you be so naive? He was just like the elves. I have expected him to wake at any moment and gobble down all the desserts in the castle. Him dying didn't even seem like a possibility. Romanov stopped by after I changed my father's bedsheets. Or he's changing. My lady, do you remember this book by any chance? I do. It was my favorite book when I was a little girl. The cover had a drawing of a small yet brave young warrior. I read this to you a few times over the years. Do you remember the name of the protagonist? I think it was Alex. Yes. Well, his full name was Alex Yegnegivigivium. Wait, what did you say? I opened the book to confirm the name. It was indeed Alexis. It isn't a common name. Isn't it surprising the name of this man is identical to that of your favorite childhood character? It must be a coincidence. I recall something else from your childhood about an elvish friend you once described. I did? It was a long time ago. You stopped mentioning him after you began your education. I hope he recovers, like the brave boy in the storybook. Romanoff handed me the book, then continued on to change Alexis's bedsheet. My father regained consciousness after 4 more days. After hearing what happened over the past couple of months, he granted the 2 people in the dungeon the death sentence. Melissa claimed her innocence until the very end. Fortunately, the antidote was ready soon enough, and Alexis' condition was alleviated. Though he wasn't poisoned anymore, he remained asleep. What was more, he grew stone-like, like an elf without their hat. Seeing Alexis in this state, I flashed back to a conversation that he and I had.
It's as you suspect. Hats are like an elf's heart, and without it, he'll gradually cease to move.
What happens if they completely stop
He
moving?
will fall into an eternal sleep. At that point, he won't come back, even if his hat is returned.
The doctor said there was no cure for these symptoms. Praying was, once again, my only option. If Alexis were an elf, I could return his hat before he ceased moving completely, but Alexis wasn't an elf. I'd never seen him wear a hat. Is the tower his hat? He hasn't changed a bit since we first met. My only source of comfort was spending time with the elves that came out of the chimney at night while everyone was asleep. They piled up sweets on the bed and played music to show how much they cared for Alexis. Everyone is waiting for you, Alexis. Now is not the time to be lost in dreamland. Kate, the tiny elf that had pranked me before gave me a sweet. I accepted his gift and gave him a tight hug to thank him. Holding the warm baby elf like a teddy bear gave me a sense of deja vu. I recall something else from your childhood about an elvish friend you once often described. Since elves can travel through chimneys to any place they want, perhaps I ran into one of them in the castle. Though I can't remember the friend clearly because it was so long ago. He would have been bigger than you. I tried my best to jog my memory while I patted the baby elf.
To the very core, elves love sweets, pranks, and...
It was something that Alexis had once told me. Wait, no, it wasn't. As if lightning had struck me, something flashed through the crevices of my memory.
To the very core, elves love sweets, pranks, and making promises.
Interesting. Old memories. It was a long, long time ago. Well before I started my education and training, I would sometimes play hide and seek with Romanoff. I would roam around the castle wearing a snow-white hat and cloak. Romanoff always found me no matter where I hid, so I hid even further out to lose Romanoff. I snuck into more secluded and remote places by the day. It was between the crates in an abandoned storage shed that I met a little elf who was shaking in fear in the corner. Having realized he was discovered, he froze on the spot. Hi! Are you playing hide and seek too? Are you sick or cold?
Huh?
Come here. I can warm you up. I simply assumed that the elf with a reddened face was sick. I gave him, who was desperately shaking his head, a tight squeeze. Okay, well, that definitely looks like him. Does your heart hurt? Romanoff says it's not good to have a fast-beating heart. My mammy passed away because her heart was weak. I'm Ekaterina Ivanova. What's your name?
I...
The elf was breathless, so he stuttered.
have no name.
Then what if I call you Alexis? Alexis Yevgenyevich Strelnikov. I'm not good at pronouncing that. He is the hero of my favorite book.
Alexis Yevgenyk Strelnikov.
The elf repeated his newly given name to commit it to memory. Oh no. Romanoff is here. I need to go hide someplace else. Bye! I ran the shed, but when I heard Romanoff's footsteps. A few days later, the elf peeped out from the small fireplace in my room. He had grown a few inches taller since I last met him. He greeted me with rosy cheeks.
Hi, Ekaterina.
Hi, Alexis! Alexis's ears and cheeks dyed red when he heard his name spoken. Do you always have a cold?
I'm not sick.
Alexis handed me a piece of chocolate. Chocolate is bad for your teeth.
Not these ones.
That chocolate had the loveliest, richest flavor of all the sweets I've ever had. This is delicious.
If you really like it, I can make more sweets for you anytime you want.
Alexis blushed all the way down to his neck when he saw me smile. He returned it with a slight, shy grin of his own. The elf continued to show up every now and then. Eventually, he became more talkative. He would sometimes ask me questions that I wouldn't understand or tell me fun facts about elves.
To the very core. Elves love sweets.
Hi, Cranberry.
Pranks.
She knew
And
Alexis
promises.
when they were kids. She met him when they were kids.
An elf can do these
He also
things
got
thanks to
poisoned.
their
I don't know if
hat.
you got the poison part.
Without it, they're powerless.
Promises were sacred to elves. He told me that keeping promises was as important to them as their hats.
Kate? Do you know what it means when you give an elf a
She
name?
named him too. She gave him the name Alexis, blah, 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 blah. No. What?
It means that you'll become their master.
Romanoff told me everything in this castle belongs to my daddy. And I'm his daughter. What belongs to my daddy will become mine someday. Since you're in my castle, I suppose you could say that you're mine too. The elf grew serious and questioned me.
Are you the master of this castle right now?
No. They still call me Young Lord.
If I accept you as my master, will you promise me one thing?
What is it?
My hat is the most important thing I own.
Okay.
I'll give it to you. But in exchange, will you give me yours?
Okay.
You can't forget. If you become the master of this castle
Ah,
and forget
that's what's
our
happening.
promise,
That's what's happening.
I'll vanish.
I promise to remember. Soon thereafter, I started my education in sword training. People flooded around me. The elf visited me less and less often. The elf, as well as the promise, became fragmented and lost in my memory. But now I remembered everything. To elves, their hat was the root of power, life, and heart. Because I had forgotten her promise, because I had turned away from him, Alexis was dying slowly and quietly. An elf's hat means his life. My hat is... Let's save. The ring? Alexis, though I may be late, I'm ready to make good on my promise. I'll give you my hat, and you give me yours in exchange. If an elf's soul is their hat, mine was my family ring. I pulled the blue sapphire ring off my index finger and wrapped Alexis's hand around it. A faint blue glow emanated from Alexis's chest. Could Alex's hat be? I touched the frosty crystal. I touched frosty crystal with the tip of my finger. The crystal magically turned into a beautiful ring. Alexis's heart. It's on. I guess elves' hearts are on the other side of their body. He'll die if I don't grant him a new one. I firmly pressed my blue sapphire ring into Alexis's chest. The blue sapphire melted away. It smeared into his chest like melting snow. Yeah! Exactly. Frosty the Snowman. Soon Alexis was consumed by dazzling rays of light. You can do it, Alexis! Alexis! The elves rushed out of the chimney and gathered around Alexis. Ba-dum, ba-bum, ba-bum. Oh no, Jaws is coming. I pressed an ear against his chest, listening to his rhythmic heartbeat. I gently caressed Alexis's cheek as I watched them return to their original color. On your feet, lazy bones. The lady herself has come to wake you up. Oh. My dear elf slowly opened his eyes and greeted me with a drowsy voice. So why is he human-sized, though? None of the other elves are human-sized. That's what I want to know. And greeted me with a drowsy voice.
Good morning, Ekaterina. My lady.
Yeah, exactly. Ah, we got the good ending. Exchange of hearts. There we go. Okay, I think we got most of the endings now. There we go. You got back to see the ending, Cranberry. Good job. Mm. Yeah, I had to mute the mute. I don't know if you were here, Cranberry. I had to mute the music because I got a copyright warning for not like, you know, it said that you don't have this monetized, but if you had it monetized, they would be getting the monetization because you use copyright music. And I'm like, oh, I guess I will be muting the music next time. So I just have background music playing. But yeah, thank you for joining. I think we'll wrap it up there for today. It was a good time. This part of the story was much more, there was a little bit in the middle there where I was like, what is happening? But, little couple of strange moments, but the rest of it was pretty cute. Pretty sweet story. Still don't know why he's the only elf who's a human size, but you know, whatever, magic. But yeah. I hope you have a good day, Cranberry, and Salt Merchant. If Salt Merchant is still in the chat, I hope they have a good day. And we'll talk to you guys next time. It probably won't continue this week, Cranberry D&D, just because I had to skip my session, my actual session last week, because people could only play on Thursday. So, but we will be finishing up the combat at some point, just not this week, probably. So, the final combat will happen, but, yeah. And if we have any more D&D games in the future, I will make announcements about it, but, okay. And next week also, I may have to, cancel my streams just because my parents are visiting. So, but we'll see. Anyway, have a good day, Cranberry, and anybody else who's watching. Hope you're having a great day. If you're not having a great day, I hope your bad day is over with soon. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye!